Hello and good morning to MoneySense Mondays. Hope you all had a good week last week. Unfortunately, we weren't here, so it's great to see those people that have come back to us and anybody new who's joining us as well. So this morning we're going to be looking at how money can affect our feelings. So we're going to be looking at different sorts of emotions. So first of all, hello to those of you that haven't met me before. My name is Trudi. I'm a community banker and covering the Somerset area. Normally we'll be out and about in the schools helping deliver or assist with delivering in these sorts of sessions. But due to the situation we're in, we're going to be doing that from home and helping the parents and yourself, children, with a fun session this morning. So let's think. Money can cause us a lot of feelings. So it could make us feel happy, it could make us feel sad, but it definitely impacts the way that we feel about things. Think about the time where you might have had money as a gift. That probably made you feel quite happy. And some people look at that in a different way, because it might be that it makes them feel happy to give that money away. Maybe give it to a friend, maybe give it to a charity. And sometimes giving money to somebody else can make a certain person feel happier than another person, and we're all different in the way that we feel. So little bit of few things there to think about, but let me introduce you to my colleague before we go on, and let me hand over to James.
Hi, thanks Trudi. Hi everybody, it's great to be back again this week. I hope you all had a wonderful half term and what glorious weather we had. So hopefully you got out and managed to enjoy it a little bit as well. It's great to have so many of you with us again already. I'll just read out a few people that are here. Now, Fraser was first one on the comments, ready to go. So hi, Fraser. We've also got George, Isaac. I think Isaac might be one of our regulars. So hi, Isaac. We've got Liam and Ryan, Amelia and Rosie. So keep those comments coming in and we'll try and call out or shout out to as many of you as we can. Now, as Trudy said, this week we are looking at emotions and how it's linked to money. So the first thing we want to think about is that word emotions and what it actually means. So emotion sounds to me like another word that we know and use quite a lot, which is emoji. So why do we use emojis? What are they telling us about you and about different people? It's a tricky word, emotions. Trudy, do we have a definition of the word emotion?
We do, yeah. So an emotion. So that's actually a feeling. It's a feeling that can be caused by either a situation or the people that you are with. And actually, right. When you think about that, it really does make sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense because we use emojis to show people how we are feeling in emails or in text messages or things like that. Great. Right then, well, let's see how many of these people know. We're going to ask you to collect as many different, and not emojis, no emojis allowed on this one. You have to give us the words for those emojis. I want you to list on the comments all the different emotions or feelings that you can think of, just single words. And I'm going to set us a target of at least 10 different feelings, okay?
Wow.
So hit us with them in the comments. And whilst we're waiting for the first few to come in, we'll go to our two families that are joining us this week. We've got Harrison, who was feeling a bit poorly last time. So Kaylee and Harrison are back with us. Hi, Harrison.
Morning, Harrison.
Hi, right, go on then, start us off. Can you give us one or two different feelings or emotions that you could think of?
Excited and worried.
Excited and worried. Right, that's two. Thank you, Harrison. We'll come back to you in just a moment as well. So that was two. Excited, worried. We've got sad from Lucy Crofton, who's with her. We've got happy as well. We've got another happy. So that's four. Still happy, sad. We've had those. We've got four different ones so far. Let's pop over to Lisa, who's with Ella this morning. Lisa, Ella, are you with us? By the power of technology. I know there was a few connection issues earlier. Oh, yeah, there they are. Oh. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Ella. So I've forgotten the before we've had, but go on, go for it. Can you give us two more?
Scared and nervous.
Scared and nervous. Good. I like that. So we're up to 6. We need 4 more for our target. Thanks, Ella.
We've got
soon. What have we got, Trudy?
Excited there from a Lucy Croft and a relaxed from an Anna.
Relax, angry. I think that's 8. Come on, we need 2 more. Feeling in love and loved. We'll go with that one. Ooh. So that's 9.
9.
We've got laughter from William. We've got worried from Emily. Can't we just want one more that we haven't had yet? Cheerful. I'm going to take cheerful. I know it means similar, but we're definitely cheerful. So yeah, there's so many different feelings and emotions that you can feel. And sometimes it's different events in our lives that make us feel this way. But occasionally it's to do with money, and it's money that makes us feel these different feelings. Okay. So let's go for a little story then. I'm going to tell you a little story, and I want you to see if you can work out how the different people in this story might be feeling and what emotions they might have. So, Derek, can we have the story up on the screen whilst we're waiting for that? Craig Dixon and whoever's with you, frustrated. What a great one. And confused. These emotions are flying in. Here we go then.
For a Monday morning as well.
They're more awake than I am. In our story, we've got Alex and Sam. And Alex and Sam are at a birthday party. Do you know what? I love the names Alex and Sam, because they could both be boys' names and girls' names. I'm just glancing through to see if it says the word he or she anywhere, but it doesn't. So it could be either. Great. Alex and Sam are playing Pass the Parcel. Lovely game. Love it myself still, even at my age. And the parcel's going round and the music stops on Alex. And Alex unwraps the wrapper. And all there is a note that says, try again. Well, I didn't win, thinks Alex. And the music starts up again and he carries on. And this time, the parcel ends up with Sam, who maybe is one of Alex's friends, a good friend. And when Sam opens it up, there's not a note, but there's some money in there. There's a 20p. Now, this could be a 50p or a pound or something else, but we'll imagine today it's 20p. So Alex got a note saying try again, and Sam got some money, got a 20p. So what we want to know is, how are those two characters going to be feeling? You could put a little A if you want to say what Alex might be feeling, or you could put a little S for Sam. So, Derek, could we have the next screen up? Just to remind us what we're looking for. Should pop out. There we go. So how would Alex feel and how would Sam feel? Let's go to Harrison. Harrison, you can take... Oh, go on, you go.
Disappointed because he didn't win.
So, Alex, Alex is feeling disappointed. Didn't win this time. So, yeah, I reckon a disappointed is a good one. Do you know what? We're going to stick with you, actually, Harrison, to tell us what you think about Sam as well, if that's okay. So how might Sam be feeling?
Excited because he won.
Yeah, and he's got some money and he could go spend that money on something. Great answers there, because the story continues and we'll go to Ella for the other bits as well. Thank you, Harrison. Let's go to someone said gutted. Yeah. Alex might be sad. Alex feels sad. Sam feels happy. Alex is annoyed. Sam feels great. Upset and happy. So, yeah, I mean, this one's quite easy. It's quite typical. So what I want us to imagine now is that the story carried on and the music started up again. And after a few more goes, Alex wasn't getting much of a turn, but the music stopped when Sam had it again. And Sam unwrapped it and Sam won another 20p. I wonder what Alex is going to be feeling about this. In fact, I wonder what Sam is going to be feeling about this. So Sam wins another 20p and Alex doesn't win again. Right? So let's go to Ella. Ella, are you there with us? Good. Ella, what have we got then? How about this time, Alex and Sam? What might they be feeling?
Alex might be feeling annoyed because he didn't win anything.
He's still not won. Yeah, very annoyed, I reckon. And what about Sam this time? He's just won again, and his friend hasn't won anything.
He might be feeling a bit guilty because Alex hasn't won anything.
I love that one as well. Guilty is a great emotion and a great feeling. So because he keeps on winning and his friends or her friend aren't winning anything. Thanks for that, Ella. Two great answers there. As well as guilty, somebody said the word jealous, I saw. Let's see if I can just scroll back up and see that one. Oh.
I've got a Michelle Booth from George that Alex feels annoyed.
Good stuff. Oh, Harrison Poppy said jealous, and somebody else said unfair. Okay, so I think you're right. I think that Sam was feeling a bit embarrassed and a bit guilty, because in this story, what Sam did was he actually decided that he was going to give his second 20p to Alex. And this suddenly changes the emotions, because what you do and what your actions are can change how you're feeling sometimes. And it can also change how other people might feel. Because when Sam gave that 20p to Alex, all of a sudden, I think they've changed both of their emotions. Sam might now be feeling something different, and so might Alex. Trudi, can you think how they might have changed their feelings?
Well, so if I was Sam and I'd had a 20p and then I'd won another 20p, but a friend of mine was sat there and hadn't won anything, and I then gave that 20p to them, I think I'd feel quite good about myself, because normally if I give money to somebody, that gives me a really good feeling. So I'd be feeling quite happy around that.
That's it. So you've lost the feeling of embarrassment or guilt, and you now feel happy, and so does Alex. So it kind of puts everybody into a better frame of mind. So that's great. Some great answers there, everybody. Well done. Trudi, I think I jumped ahead of ourselves a little bit. Could you, do you have any other things to tell us about, and about the banks and money and feelings?
Well, I just wanted to really think about the fact of money a little bit, and those emotions that we've gone through and the sort of emotions it can put us through, and how does a bank help with that? So as much as the bank helps, we are absolutely there to talk to. So children, if you're out there, and obviously you're there with your parents as well, one of the most important things that we can take away from this is that if you have any worries around money, is to talk to somebody. So that could be just your parents, it might be an older brother and sister, or it could be that you go with your parents with somebody and talk to somebody at the bank. So it's things that we do, we're trained to do, to talk to people, to use their money well, and to make them feel good about things. We don't like people feeling unhappy around situations, especially with money, and we very much encourage them to come in and to talk to us. But I guess what we have said in previous sessions, and I'm sure children you'll remember, is that by putting your money in the bank, the money is safe and secure. So if you know your money is safe and secure, that should make you feel better than actually feeling a little bit worried if you're carrying it around and you might lose it in that way. So thinking around that as well. So let's think about who we can go to. So who you could talk to if you are worried, because sometimes money does worry us. It might be that one friend has more money than another and they can buy something that you can't, and that might not make you feel very good. And you might want to just talk to somebody about that. Or it might be that you've had a lot of money for your birthday and you feel really good about that, but you're not sure what to do with that money. So again, it's just talking to somebody, and that could be at the bank, or it could be with a close friend or family member. So those are the things I just wanted to say, so that people don't get overly worried about it, that there are things out there that we can do and talk to people.
Lovely. Thank you, Trudi. Right, let's move on to our second activity then. And so we're still sticking with the theme of feelings and emotions, but we're going to have a look at the word debt. Now, the word debt means when you owe somebody else some money. Now, this might happen because, let's think, in a previous session, we talked about wants and needs, things that you want to buy, but things that you need to buy. And sometimes you might run out of money and you might not have enough money to buy the things you actually still need. And if this happens, you might borrow some money from somebody. It might be from a friend, or it might be from the bank, and they'll give you some money so that you can buy those things you need. Now, unfortunately, this means that you now owe them, and next time you get some money, you have to pay them back, because they're not just giving it to you to keep forever. We have to give it back to them. And when this happens, this is what's called being in debt to that person. So it's in your head, you know that you still owe them money and you've got to give it back to them. So this is hard to kind of think about, particularly at the young age that you are that are watching this session. But we'd just like to have a think. How do you think it might make you feel if you owe somebody else some money? Drop those feelings in the comments if you can think of anything. And we'll pop back quickly to Harrison and Ella and see if they've thought of anything. So Harrison, it's a hard one to imagine, but if you owed someone some money, how might that make you feel?
Embarrassed.
Oh, embarrassed. What about embarrassed that you couldn't afford to buy them in the first place? Yeah, it could be, couldn't it? Okay, but sometimes people can't help being in debt because it's just something they need to do because they have to buy those needs. But yeah, they might feel a bit embarrassed about it. Love that one. And Ella. So Claire Green said concerned and embarrassed as well on the comments there. Good answers. Ella, other than embarrassed, how else might it make you feel?
Nervous, because you don't know what they'll do.
Yeah. So if you can't pay them back straight away, what if you've told them you'll pay them back next week and then you haven't got the money, so you feel a bit nervous, maybe a bit worried about what to do. That's really good thinking as well.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Harry said, thanks, Ella. Harry said sad. We've got lots of, from Jessica Knight, we've got lots of kind of sad looking emojis. And somebody said that they owe their dad some money already. So yeah, they might be feeling some of these things. Let's pop some emojis up on the screen then that we had to think of. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, hands up. I don't know what all of the emojis are, but I do know that they're not positive emojis. I know one of them with the tears looks like someone's really sad. We've got one with some red cheeks there that looks like it might be embarrassed, which somebody's already said. We've got an angry. We've got, I think one of them's worried. Yeah, all these kind of different feelings that aren't particularly good. So, well, what can we do about it? Well, do you know what? Sometimes it can't be avoided. But the important thing is that we need to change what we think, and we need to try and manage those feelings to see if we can make them change and be a bit more positive about things. So let's have a look at an imaginary character called Mr. Jones. I think we might have Mr. Jones on there. Yep, Mr. Jones has needed to borrow some money. So he's currently what we call in debt. And he's having some different thoughts about his situation. So I'm going to read through them. And what we want you to do is tell us which of those thoughts and feelings are the right feelings that Mr. Jones should have, and which are the ones that perhaps he needs to think past and move on from. Okay, so Mr. Jones is feeling these. Number one, I have learned from this experience. Number two, I'm silly for owing someone money. Number three, I have a plan to pay back all the money that I owe. Number four, I hate that other people have more money than me. And finally, number five is I now have the skills to help me keep track of my money in future. So we want to know which are the feelings that you think Mr. Jones should try and keep hold of and take to move forwards with. Just give us the numbers. So pick either, if you think it's 2 numbers, give us the 2 numbers. If you think it's 4, give us all 4 numbers. Just list those numbers in the comments and we'll see who the first person to come up with those numbers are. I'm just going to refresh those comments there. Number 5, someone says number 5, I now have the skills. Yes, feeling positive. Like, do you know what? I've got the skills now to maybe help me avoid the situation in the past. Well done there. Noah and Sebi says 1, 3 and 5. Let's have a look. I've learnt. I have a plan and I now have the skills. Somebody
really
said number 2 is bad. Aaron Watterson says number 2 is bad. Yeah, you don't need to feel silly because sometimes you just can't help that situation. Mm-hmm. So try not to feel bad and put yourself down about it. Lots of people now saying 1, 3 and 5 are good. Trudy, should we have a look at the correct answers?
Let's bring them up on the
screen. You can quickly
slide.
talk screen.
So, what thoughts did we think were ones that we should keep, and which ones did we think that actually we needed to look at a little bit? So, absolutely correct, with lots of you coming through on the comments there that 1, 3 and 5 are good ones that we can take forward. So, I have learned from my mistake or from that experience that I've had. I have a plan to pay back all the money that I owe, and I now have the skills to keep track of the money. So I've learned from it. I've got a plan to go forward, and now I've got the skills to actually make me do that in a better way. So those are all the great ones. And then thinking about ones that we can look at and maybe adjust in a little way. So I'm silly for owing someone money. Well, that's not necessarily true, because sometimes we do have to owe people money. One of the things I think about is if you ask your parents' children what's the biggest thing that they have to buy, they'll probably say their house. And actually, that's something that we can't do generally without borrowing some money. So you'll find that in life, we have to have some debt normally. And it's not always a bad thing. It's sometimes a good thing of ways that we can go forward. And number 4 there, so I hate that other people have more money than me. It doesn't matter if somebody has more money than you. It's all about how we can learn from that, plan and have the skills to go forward. Because even if somebody has a lot of money, it doesn't mean that they're in a better position than you necessarily. So, yeah, great. Everybody did really well on that with the comments that have come through. So we've still got 1, 3 and 5 coming through a lot of emojis there. coming through as well. So I will hand back to James for continuing on, because I think we're going to move on to our quiz now.
We are going to move on to our quiz to see what we've learned today. But I just wanted to touch on kind of what you said there, Trudi, again, that it's not unusual to feel those bad feelings, those negative feelings, but it's really important that if you do, you talk to someone about it.
Absolutely.
Because talking it through can help to turn those negative feelings back into positive ones, like numbers 1, 3, and 5. Good. Quiz time then. Got a few questions on screen. Let's see how you've been listening and paying attention. Question number 1 this morning is, what is an emotion? Now, normally at this point, I promise to read out the first one that appears on my screen and then loads of answers ping up. So I'm going to try it again. First correct answer to this one gets it called out or gets it shouted out. So what is an emotion? What did we say? What did the word emotion mean? It's linked to emojis. I'm gonna go with someone was typing in so quick. I think Harrison have said feelings. And Aaron Watterson has said it, feeling. And Peter Johnson, there we go, the first 3 on that one. Yeah, your emotions are your feelings. Well done. Question 2.
Sorry, Jay.
Oh, sorry, go on, you do this one.
How might people feel when they give money?
When you give money to someone, how might it make you feel? Loads of people writing the answer to the other one in while we wait for the first answer. Miles said an emotion is something you feel. Craig, Zita, Emily, Jessica all said feelings as well. And George says feelings. Let's see. How might it make you feel when you give money? Happy. Harrison Poppy threw some emojis in there.
Good, yeah.
Steve, Claire Carroll said good. Lucy Croft said good.
Happy, good.
Yeah, loads of people flying in there. Jacob and Noah said good. Brilliant answer there. Yeah, it's a positive feeling. When you give somebody some money, to help them out, it can make you feel good about yourself. Number 3 is, what is debt? Now, I explained really briefly and simply what this was. What does that word debt mean? It's when what? What is debt? Computer struggling to keep up so far there. Someone said proud, not for this one, but for giving people money. Yeah, proud is a good one. What is debt? Who's the first one going to come up with this one this morning? All those emotions flying in. Well, I'm going to keep refreshing. What is debt? Oh, money owed. Steve and Claire Carroll, whoever's with you. And Ruby Tomlinson, if you owe somebody money. Yeah. So debt is where you owe someone. You've borrowed it, but you have to give it back. Great answers. And number 4, Trudi, you can read this one.
Number 4. So how might a person feel if they are in debt? So we talked about that.
We did a couple of feelings there. We got some emojis on the screen, didn't we? And we talked about the feelings that perhaps you shouldn't necessarily try not to feel when you are in debt. So who's going to be the first person to give us that feeling? Sad. Yeah, we got there, sad from Jane, and Aaron said bad. And Craig said sad. Yeah, it's worried from Steve. Craig, lots of good answers. You're getting in there quick this morning. Yeah, it's just those feelings that aren't particularly good, is it? It can make you feel those down feelings, those negative.
There was a comment earlier that I picked up on, and it was somebody had put that they felt anxious. And I thought that was a really good word.
That's a really good one. Anxiety. You feel anxious, and Fraser there has just said nervous as well. Good stuff. All right, we've just got a little bit of time for some questions. I always say that we've got Trudi here with her expertise. So if anybody has a question that they would like to ask her, we've got time for just a couple. Type it in the comments and we'll see if we can come to you. While we wait for the first one to come in, let's pop back to Kaylee and Harrison, because I think Harrison has got a question lined up. Harrison.
Hello, Harrison.
Who should I speak to if I'm worried about money?
Who should you speak to? That's a really good question, because we certainly said to talk to, and there's a whole variety of people out there that you can talk to, but it's somebody who you would feel comfortable talking to. So it might be that you want to talk to your mum. So if you felt a bit worried about money, it might be that you talk to mum about it. You might have an older brother or sister that you could talk to, or somebody that you feel close to. Or it might be that you go with mum to the bank and you talk to somebody in the bank, because we're quite nice to talk to around money and help you feel a little bit better and try and change that worried emotion into a happy emotion. There you go, Harrison.
That is a good question, Harrison. And do you know what? It doesn't matter how old you are, because I'm 40, and I think I might still talk to my mum if I was worried about money as well, because she's really good at helping me feel at ease with those sorts of things. So it doesn't matter what age you are. Thanks, Harrison. Right then, one of the questions I saw coming through, Trudi said, "How can you manage debts?" That was Ruby Tomlinson. What can you do to help manage it?
I think the things that we've talked about. So firstly, making sure that you talk to somebody sooner rather than later, because I think if you don't talk to somebody, then the debt, unfortunately, could get a little bit worse. You can, once you're at a certain age, you can manage that by making sure you check on your bank account all the time, making sure that you're looking at the money you've got coming in and the money you've got going out. And maybe, children, you've seen your parents use their phones to keep a check on their accounts, and the more you check your account, the more you can manage that. And that's, if you remember from those questions, having those skills. So making sure that we're checking things regularly, talking to people, and maybe, children from your age, going onto the MoneySense website, because if you go onto the MoneySense website, you'll learn a lot about money and how to budget and how you can manage that well. So I think that's a really good starting point for children.
Lovely. We're so short on time, but I'm going to really put you on the spot again, because I like doing this, Trudi.
You always put me on the spot.
So somebody said, why is it called debt? Now, does that have anything to do with debit and debit cards that we talked about a few sessions ago? Or do you know the answer to this?
I don't know the answer to that. It's one we could all find out.
We need to Google that. It was Zita said that. Why is it called debt? What a good question. And yeah, we don't know the answer to that one.
It could be linked to
debit, where when you spend money, it goes out of your account. But yeah, well, we'll have to look that one up, and maybe you could.
Absolutely.
Trudi, we're out of time. What could we be doing before next week's session during the week?
Okay, so next week's session, I'm going to quickly just share a little top tip with you, children. So in Old English times, the word pug was actually a clay to make dishes. So that word pug then eventually became the word piggy bank. So interesting one for you to take back to school when you're going back to school, or to share with your parents where the piggy bank actually came from. So it was clay that was used in Old English times, known as pug. Going forward then, so MoneySense is something that we can absolutely visit. You can go to www.mymoneysense.com. There's a game there called the Change Games. There's so many different types of games and learning that are fun and educational. Stuff for your parents as well. So information and bits that your parents can log into, so that both of you can have a look at information educational wise and really get you started on that money journey, so that you can manage your money better as you become older. So those are things that you can look at for now in the next week. We'll be back next Monday, and we're going to be doing a session on going shopping. So I'm sure you all enjoy going shopping. So that should be a good fun session. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week. I'll just hand back to James just to say bye.
Yeah, brilliant. We're just going to go offline just for a short moment to quickly prepare for session 2. I can see some people are already joining for session 2. So bear with us. We'll be back in a short moment. Those that were with us for session 1 that normally carry over and do both, they are quite similar this morning, so it's up to you. You're welcome to join us again, but you might not want to on this occasion. So we're just going to go offline now. We'll see the younger ones again next week, and those that are already on ready for session 2, just hang on with us, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds to a minute's time. Bye for now.
See you in a minute. Bye. Good morning, everyone. So welcome back for those of you that have stayed on board and listened to our first session. And hello to all of you that are joining us for our second session here for our 8 to 12-year-olds, where we're going to be looking at how money can affect our feelings, emotions, and our well-being. So some really important things to think about. So for those of you that haven't heard me before or seen me before, my name is Trudi. I'm a community banker. I cover the Somerset area, the lovely sunny Somerset area. I hope it's sunny where you are too. I tend to normally be going into schools and helping with these sessions, but not something that we can do at the moment in the current climate. So we're bringing this to your homes and helping parents with your homeschooling. So money can cause a lot of feelings. It can impact the way that we feel, could make us feel happy, can make us feel sad, and it's probably different for each and every one of us. So if you think about the last time maybe you bought a gift, maybe you had some money for your birthday, you went out and bought a gift, that probably made you feel quite good, quite happy. But it might be that you're the sort of person that actually, if you give money to charity, that makes you feel quite good. We're all different in the way with our feelings. So let my colleague introduce himself, and I'll hand over to James.
Hi, everybody. It's me, James, again. We're glad to be back. We've had a week off, but it's so good of you to all join us again this week. You probably, while Trudi was talking, you saw me frantically writing things down. We like to give a shout out to the people that are joining us. So I made a quick list of the comments that were flying through as she was going there. So quick run through then. Hello to Lacey. Hello to Alex. Hello to Aidan, Gemma, Olivia, Tom from St John's School in Hindley Green, Ollie and Aaron. Sorry if I haven't said you as well. I'll see if we can catch you with some of the answers during the session as we go. Now then, activity 1. We'll start again like we did the last session, looking at the word emotion. Okay, and I said before that emotion is a bit like an emoji. So what does the word mean, Trudi? What does emotion mean?
So emotion, yeah, you think it's quite a complex word, but it's just about our feelings, and it is a feeling, but it's a feeling that can be caused by either a situation that you're in or the people that you're with. And I think if we think about that, that's absolutely true.
Good stuff. Right. Well, we challenged the younger ones to see if they could come up with 10 different emojis, or not emojis weren't allowed. Not allowed to use emojis this time. You have to actually write the word into the comments, or you can talk to the parent or the grown up that you're watching with and tell them instead of typing it. So I'm going to challenge you lot to see if we can get 15. Can we get 15 different emotions or different feelings in the comments? Okay. And whilst we're letting some of those come in, we're going to introduce our families this morning. So first up, we've got Sophie and Katie. Sophie and Katie, yes, you're there. Hello. Morning. Nice to have you back.
Morning.
Rather than just give you any, I'm going to play a little game with you. Okay. So I've got here some different emojis that I have printed out. So we're going to see if you can guess them. We're going to test Trudi first. Okay. So Trudi, tough one for you. What's this one?
Do you know, I know that one. So that's happy.
Happy. Right, girls, we're going to give you 2, okay? Let's see if you can get these 2. Somebody's just said happy on the comments, actually, there. Michelle Martson, well done. And a couple more said happy. Ready, then. Sophie or Katie, I don't mind who. What's this one?
Angry.
Ooh.
Angry. Got that one together. Flew in there, then. Right, a bit of a trickier one this time.
Excited.
What was that?
Excited.
I thought I was going to catch you with that one. Excited you got that one. Well done, girls. We'll come back to you in a little bit. So we've had you 2 on before. We haven't had Amber and Jacob on before. So we got Amber and Jacob. Good. Hello. How are you, Jacob?
Good morning.
I'm fine.
Right. Do you want to carry on playing my game? The Guess the Emoji game?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Glad you didn't say no. Right. This one's your one then.
Sad.
Sad. Now, it can be sad. Is there anything else it might be? Because he's definitely sad, but he also might be feeling a bit
Worried.
Well, yeah, spot on. Good lad. Well done. We'll
Really good.
as well. Right, I'm just going to refresh the comments before we carry on. We've got excited, angry, cheerful. Let's scroll up. Ecstatic, frightened, nervous.
That's a good one.
I'm losing count here. There's so many. Disturbed. You know, you might be disturbed about something. Sad, nervous. Right, let's keep it going. We've got one more family. We've got Lisa. So Lisa was on before, but she's changed Ella for Colby. Hi, Colby.
Good morning.
Hello.
Nice to have you with us. Right, we'll do the last
Hello.
2 for you, Colby. Okay, here we go. Any ideas?
Questionable.
I like that one. Question. So if you've got lots of questions because you don't know the answers, you might be feeling. Maybe Mum can help.
Oh yeah, confused.
Confused. Yeah, I gave you the last 2. These are the trickiest ones. And then the last one, let's just quickly scroll up. We've got someone said depressed, yeah, which is not a good one. Someone said anxious, ecstatic. Here we go. Last one. The cheeks might give this one away, Colby. Got red cheeks.
Surprised.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? Those wide eyes are like the surprised emoji as well. I'll give you that one and we'll take that. And when do your cheeks go red? You go really red when you're feeling a bit.
Oh, embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Good stuff. Great work, Colby. Right, we'll come back to you in a bit later as well. Now, Trudi, were you keeping count, Trudi?
Oh my gosh, no.
No, me neither. I'm going to assume that we got 15 there in amongst all of those.
There are so many comments coming through. There must be 15.
There was definitely. So we passed our challenge. Right. The 2 emojis we're going to focus on for our next activity are these 2. So we've got excited and we've got worried. And I think we might have these on a slide to help us remember. Here we go. Excited and worried. So money can make us feel both of these different emotions. Sometimes separately, sometimes like a mixture of both of them at the same time. So what I'd like you to do is, with your pen and paper or even on the comments, is to see if you can make up a fictional, so it doesn't have to be real, a fictional sentence where you might have felt excited, linked with money, or a sentence where you might have felt worried, linked to money, or if you're feeling really clever this morning, you might go for one sentence where you use the word excited and worried at the same time. So I'm going to go for one first of all. I'm going to go for, I'm currently saving up for a toy I want to buy, but I'm worried that it will have sold out by the time I've saved up enough money. There we go. So that's how money could make me feel worried. Trudi, have you got one?
Well, mine would be, I'm very excited because I've ordered some new trainers for my running and I hope it will make me run faster.
So
or I hope they will make me run faster.
So you've spent some money, you've bought something and it's making you feel excited. Good one.
Indeed.
Let's have a look. Have we got any... we've got going to Disney World from Aaron. I think he's going for the excited one there. Maybe he's mixture. Maybe he'd be worried about saving for it, he said. Someone said exciting when my mum said I could buy a toy. Excited when I saw money in my bank account. Yeah, I love it when I see money in my bank account.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen often though. Lots of people going for the excited one. Let's go back to the girls, Sophie and Katie. I wonder if which one they've chosen. What have you chosen, girls? Worried, excited, or both?
Excited.
Go on then, give us an excited one.
He was excited because he was about to buy a mansion.
Whoa, a mansion. Someone's been saving up their money hard, and that would definitely get me excited to buy a mansion. Great one. I love that one. Thanks, girls. I've just got on my comments here. Someone's gone with a double one. So Dave Connor has said, I was excited to buy my new toy, but afterwards I felt worried because I had no money left. So that's brilliant. That feeling of excitement and worry at the same time.
I've got a really good one here, James, on the comments. I'm excited to go back to school, but worried about the virus.
Oh, yeah. So not necessarily money there, but again, showing that you can feel both different things at the same time. Yeah, I like that one. Right. Well, this whole thing about different emotions is what adults, you might have heard adults talking about the word well-being. So well-being is, if you switch those two words round, so well-being switches round to being well. And when people talk about their well-being, it's how well they feel. And if your well-being is in the right sort of place, then you feel good, you feel relaxed, you feel comfortable, and you feel able to get on with your life as normal. But if your well-being is not in a good place, then you might be feeling worried, anxious, and nervous about different things. So Trudi, I've gone and done it again. I've gone out of order of what we'd planned this morning. I'm going to jump back to you then. Say, is there anything that you want to drop in and talk about at this point to do with the banks and money about feelings?
Yeah, so I think where you've just been talking about well-being links in really well, because well-being is something children that if you do feel anxious, if you do feel nervous, and we're thinking about money here, that there are people that we can talk to. And that might be someone within your family, it might be your friends, but it could be somebody outside, because a lot of children, for whatever reason, might not feel comfortable in talking to somebody who's immediately close to them. So if I'm worried about money, for example, I'd probably, a bit like you said in the last session, James, you go to your mum, I'd probably talk to my dad about it, because he's the person who I would refer to about that. I would hope that my children would be able to speak to me, but sometimes people might want to go and speak to a professional, so they might come to the bank. And actually, we're all trained to do that. We're trained to talk to people so that they can put themselves in a better place with money. So if their well-being isn't in a great place, we would hope to change that, if you like, that sad or worried emotion into a happy emotion. It might be that it's just about having the skills and being able to manage that money. So having statements, being able to look at what's coming in and coming out of their account. So in a previous session, we looked at a bank statement. So keeping on top of that bank statement, or looking at your app, so that you know that everything is in order with regards to your money. And again, if you've got money in there, that will make you feel good. And if you don't feel good, make sure that you speak to somebody. And that's probably the biggest thing that I can say out of today, is have somebody that you can refer to and feel comfortable talking to about things. And I think that's not just about money, that's about anything in this world at the moment.
Absolutely. Good, thank you, Trudi.
Okay.
So the next activity is all about something called debt. And debt is one of the things that, you know, it's one of the most common things to do with money, actually, that changes people's emotions and makes them feel in certain ways. Now, what is debt? We've talked about it briefly in some of the previous sessions, but debt is where we talked about needs and wants. And we said maybe somebody hasn't got enough money to buy all the things they need, so they need to borrow it from somebody. They might borrow it from a friend or a family member, or even from the bank. But once they've borrowed that money, they need to pay it back. So it means next time they earn some money, they have to give it back to that person. And that can make you feel in a certain way. Now, just before I ask you how it might feel, Trudi, I don't know if you saw it in the comments, but in the last session, somebody came up with a fantastic question, which was, why is debt called debt? And did you see the answer come in?
I didn't. No, I didn't see the answer.
Said apparently, for all those that want to know, it's from the Latin word debitum, which means something being owed. There you go.
That's good.
So, yep, debt comes from the Latin word, which means owing somebody something. So yeah, it's when you owe someone money. So first up then, how do you think being in debt, so when you owe somebody money, how's that going to make you feel? Drop it in the comments and I'll just see if I can refresh them. Going through, so we've just been back to the girls. So let's go to Amber and Jacob again. Amber, Jacob, if you owed someone money, Jacob, how might it make you be feeling?
I might be annoyed of the cost of their debt or the debt.
So annoyed.
Yeah,
You got another one? You sounded like you had another one lined up there.
No, don't worry.
That's fine. No, annoyed is a good one. Yeah, because you're annoyed, like, oh, I didn't mean to get into debt, and now the cost of it, I've got to give all that money back to someone. So well done. And let's also pop to Lisa and Colby. But then there we go. Colby, have you got any ideas? How's it going to make people feel if they're in debt, if they owe money?
Probably make them feel anxious.
Anxious. In the last one as well. Yeah, it really gives you that sort of feeling in your stomach about, am I going to have enough money the next month to pay for things if I owe somebody money this month? So anxious is a great emotion or a great feeling. Thanks, Colby. Let's have a quick look on the comments. So we've got frantic, stressed, sad, anxious, frustrated, embarrassed, feeling a bit embarrassed that you
uncomfortable.
That you had to borrow that money. So loads of different feelings in there. Nervous, annoyed. We've got a few of the pictures on screen. I think we have anyway. Let's see if we got any of these. Derek, if we could have the next ones up. Maybe they. Oh no, maybe I'm imagining the previous session. I thought we had I thought we had one where there was lots of feelings inside. Nope, scrap that then. I don't know what I'm doing this morning. But I think we pretty much got them. Someone said heartbroken, yeah. But what I was hopeful to say is they're all negative emotions. Debt tends to make you feel down and low, and it's not good for your well-being. That word we used earlier. All right then, what we did just see on the screen is the diagram that I want you to draw. Before it comes up on the screen, I'll show you mine. Here's mine. I've had a little go. Look at my drawings. They're not my drawings, really. I just went on the computer and used ClipArt. But you can draw them. I want you to draw 3 things on a piece of paper if you can. I want you to draw an empty heart, an empty thought bubble, and an empty hand. And we're going to write some words or some things into those. So we've got one on screen ready. There we go. That's what I was not expecting to come, but hey, but this is what we want now. Heart, head, and hand. The task is, I want you to imagine that you or somebody else is in debt. They owe somebody money. And in the 3 different shapes, this is what you're going to do. In your heart, I want you to write some feelings. What different things might you be feeling? In the speech bubble or in the thought bubble is your head. So what thoughts, not feelings, what might you be thinking? Okay, it might be a question that you might be thinking in the head. And in the hand or next to the hand is something that you could do. What might you do if you were in debt, if you owed someone money? So heart is feelings, head is thinking, and hands is what can you do? So we'll leave you with just a moment to try and fill in yours. And let's go visit. So we've got 3 families, so we'll do 1 each. So girls, Sophie and Katie, let's go for you for the heart, because you had a bit of prior warning on this one. What do you think are the feelings then that you've got in your heart?
Annoyed, unhappy, and angry.
Annoyed, unhappy, and what was the third one?
Angry.
And angry. So you're feeling annoyed, you're feeling unhappy, you're feeling angry. Yeah, all these not great emotions, not great feelings. Great stuff. Let's flip to Amber and Jacob. There we go. You've got the middle one. So you've got the thoughts. What might you be thinking, Jacob?
They might be thinking of what they can do to get out of debt, like maybe selling something.
So having these thoughts already about what can we do, what could I do to get out?
What a good idea.
Could I sell something? How could I get more money? I like that one. Let's have a little thing there. So we've got, just scrolling through, because someone might be thinking, what has happened? How did I get into debt? How are they in debt there? It's from Aaron. Gemma said, what has happened? Yeah, lots of things there. Upset. Sally said upset for the feelings. Someone would think, I would need to save now. And they'd be feeling stressed. That was Gemma. So some great comments going through here. Thanks, Jacob. Let's go to Colby then. Colby, you've got keep giving you the hard questions. I'm sorry, Colby. You've got the hand, which is what could you do?
They could look for online support or like speak to a bank for help.
Two good things. So they could speak to a bank, but do you know what? I really like your first option there, because somebody said they're feeling embarrassed. And if you're feeling embarrassed, it's not always easy to talk to someone in person. And you said seek online support. So there might be some sites where you can actually just go online. And I think some banks have a chat facility. Trudi, is that right? So that you don't have to see someone face to face.
So you can just message in effect. Yeah. So that's probably something that children are quite used to doing, especially at the moment with homeschooling. You're probably emailing your teachers and that type of thing. Or you use, I don't know, apps, Snapchat, Instagram, where you're used to messaging people. And actually, there's people that you can message at the bank who will talk to you in that way. And actually, if you don't want to verbally talk to somebody either on the telephone or face to face, you've always got that option. And maybe that's something you feel more comfortable in doing. So, yeah, really good point, Colby. Well done.
See, that's why I keep coming to you with the hard questions, because you keep coming up with the good answers. Well done. Thank you. Great, then. Let's move on. What's the time? Oh, time's ticking along again. So I think it's time for the quiz. Let's go for the 4 questions we've got lined up to see if we've been paying attention this morning. So straight through, no time to waste, with question number 1 is, what is an emotion? Going to go for our usual promise here. If we can get the first person to write the correct answer in the comments, then we will read you out. So I'll keep refreshing here. What is an emotion? is it? We talked about emojis, which gives us a good clue here. Lacey's got this one, and Lacey says an emotion is when you feel something. Sally B has quickly followed that up, and Oliver Tomlinson with it's how you feel. So they were the first three on that one. Question 2 is, what does well-being mean to you? Right, Trudi, how are your comments coming through? Are they coming through quickly?
Slower than yours, I think.
Slower than mine. Okay, what is your well-being, or what do we say well-being is? Lots of people giving the feelings answers. Oh, someone's saying well-being is a feeling. Someone said, oh, Olivia, then we're going to go with that one. Olivia says looking after yourself. Yeah, because well-being is that positiveness. It's feeling when you're feeling happy and when you're feeling content, when you feel looked after and you're ready to go about your life as usual. And somebody's been listening, VJ, because they've swapped my words around and turned it into being well. And that's how I remember it. So great. Trudi, do you want to do question number 3?
So question number 3, how might debt impact someone's feelings? So we just covered that off, actually. So hopefully we'll get some quick comments coming through on that. But how might that impact someone's feelings? How might they feel? So Dave Connor, sadness. I think I've still got them coming through on well-being, actually, there.
Yep, someone said worried. I've got worried there from, oh, it's just disappeared. Gemma said worried. I'm sure somebody above her said worried as well. But yeah, worried.
Yeah.
And things like that. So yeah.
So worried, sad, anxious.
And embarrassed as well. So some really good feelings there. And question number 4, last one this morning, is what actions could someone take? So this was the hands on our diagram. What could you do? Or what's it a good idea to do? There was one we kept going on about and saying, what was that one? What's the best thing to do if you are in debt? Let's have a look. Who's it going to be? It's got lots of those things. People saying sad, anxious, annoyed, scared. Make sure you spend wisely, Gemma. Yeah, so you could think about how you got into debt and maybe try and adjust that. And Dave and Olivia both said, talk to somebody. And that was our big key message. Yeah. Doesn't matter who, but find someone and talk it through. Keeping it to yourself isn't good for your well-being. Great. Then time for, we've still got some time left in the session for some questions. So if any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask Trudi whilst we've got her here with us, then drop us a note in the comments box. We'll try and get to them. And let's pop to Claire and the girls, Sophie and Katie. I think you've got a question lined up.
Is it bad to be in debt?
Is it bad
to be in debt? So I will say sometimes debt can be bad, but not always. It's not always the case because sometimes it's necessary that we have debt. So probably if you ask Mum what is the biggest thing she's had to buy, I would probably guess that she will say it's her house. And most of us have to borrow money to buy a house. Most of us don't have that sort of money just floating around in our piggy banks to buy a house. So we end up borrowing money. And that's not a bad thing because that gives us a house and that's a way of life. So debt's not always bad, but sometimes it can be. And I think the most important thing with debt is if it's making you feel sad, upset or worried, then to talk to somebody about that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Good stuff. So this is my Monday morning entertainment, Trudi, to give you the tough questions, I'm afraid. I've seen a brilliant one that's come in from Olivia. And Olivia said, what happens if the bank runs out of money?
Gosh almighty. Well, in my years of banking, I haven't come across that as yet, and I will hope not to. But we are protected by a bigger company, let's say. So a bigger company does protect the money to a certain level per person. So that's actually, for your it's £85,000 per person. There's a level of protection there. So there is a level of protection, and that's why we say it's safe and secure to keep your money in the bank.
Good stuff. We see we can't put you on the spot. You seem to know all the answers. And Anita Bradford has said, what happens I think this is what I mean. What happens if you can pay it back? So what happens when you pay your debt back? What then? What next?
So then you don't have debt. So you did have debt, and that might not have made you feel great, but if you're in a position that you can pay back the debt, that makes you feel better. And then I guess it's also thinking about, how can I do that better next time? So then having those skills to think about how you can go forward. And it might be that in previous weeks we've talked about maybe putting a bit aside for an emergency. Maybe that's something to think of, so you don't necessarily need debt. But as I said, there are some situations where we will need to have some debt. So thinking about that as well.
Okay, and some the good questions are really coming in there. We've got one from Mike Hawker. That says, is it, if you borrow money from a bank, is there something about interest here? Do they make money on the interest? We said when you save money, the bank gives you extra money. So how does that work if you borrow money?
So we did mention when we were talking about savings, putting money into savings, that the bank would give you a little bit of money on top of that, and that was known as interest. So the banks will also lend you money, so you can borrow money from a bank once you're 18. Okay, so you need to be 18 to borrow money. And when you're 18, and if you do borrow money, let's say you buy your first car and you borrow some money from the bank, we will charge you a little bit of interest. So if you borrowed, say, £1,000 from the bank, it might be that you pay that back over 3 years, but you end up paying back, let's say, £1,200. That's just an example, with some interest on top of that. It probably wouldn't be that much, but you would pay back a little bit extra, but it's giving you the money when you want it, and that's known as interest. So the interest works in both ways. Yeah, really good question.
It is a good question. So what that's saying to me is that if I can, it's always going to be better for me to just save up my money and buy it when I'm ready. And if I can avoid
cheaper, you will avoid the interest.
Money, not that we always can, but if I can avoid borrowing money, then I should. Well, I know we had some questions lined up from the other families, but time has caught up on us again.
It has again, yeah.
In the comments this week. Trudi, is there anything that we could be doing during the week before next week's session at home?
There is, but I'm actually going to share a little bit of a tip a moment.
Go on then.
And we've already touched on something Latin. So the Latin word for salt is actually known as sal. So ancient Romans used to use salt as a currency. So salt was used by ancient Romans as a currency. The Latin word for salt is sal. And that's where we get the word salary from. So those that did the previous session will remember that on a pay slip, we saw salary, which was how much mum and dad might be earning every month and the income that they have going into their accounts. So Latin words really came forward with regards to money from what we're learning from these sessions. So an interesting one for you to think about. Where can we go going forward? So for the next week, we can visit the MoneySense website. So we can go to mymoneysense.com. If you haven't been there already, please do, because there's some fantastic, fun, educational gains and information that you can take on board. There's one there around money and mood. So linking in with the emotions that we've done today, that would be a really good one for you to have a look at. And parents, there's some information for you there. You can register and look at the various different educational sites that you feel are right for your children. So please do visit that. We will be back next week with another session. And next session, we are going to be covering, let me just double check on that, money around the world. So It's going to be a really interesting one next week. So a lot of you may have travelled abroad. So it'll be a great one for you to join in on. But we'll be back next week. It's great to have you all here today. Thank you so much for all your comments. I will look forward to seeing you next week. I'll just hand back to James to say bye.
Thanks, Trudi. I'm looking forward to that session next week. I think it's as close to a holiday as we're both probably likely to get this year. So come and join us at 10:30 again next week, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.